Alright, so we got a Bobcat t190 turbo with the standard tracks, which are about 12 inches. This is going to be important to know if you got to get hoses, because apparently if you have the wider tracks, it's a different hose. So keep that in mind. But so we had as a drive hose, two of them. Take a shit. I'll show you here. So there's Teach drive pump or motor. Excuse me, wouldn't be a pump, motor. Teach drive motor. There is 4 hoses that go to it. 2 of them, supply return for brake and for drive. So what happened here was these 2 hoses are like this. So if you're gonna get anything out of this video, this is the most important thing. Never cross hoses or let hoses touch, sexually or mechanically. Nothing good can come of it. But on this here, this is about 2004-ish, so we're looking at 16 years old. And I don't know how well you can see this with the sun, but I mean, this nut was 3 times as big as that, and I chiseled all the rust and shit off it. I had to stand on the wrench because I'm weak, but I was afraid this is all gonna break off. I mean, you can see how pitted these fittings are here. These pumps new, or excuse me, I keep calling it a fucking pump, it's a motor. This motor new, they're about 2,500 bucks. So you don't want to break that. The bad deal is here's this little cover here, sits on top of it, and all that dirt and moisture and shit just sits in there. 50, 60 years ago we never had this problem because, well, everything leaked and you had oil all over everything and nothing rusted like this. But if you own one, take care, clean that out, pressure wash it or something. Pull that cover off. It's kind of a pain in the ass because you gotta pull the track off. We'll get to that when we reassemble it, but take the track up to loosen it. There's these little windows here you take off. I don't know if you can see it in there, tensioner. So the top one's a grease zerk that sets your tension, and the bottom one's like a drain. You can just let her out. Track came back. Pry bar, one guy job, easy to pop it off to get to it. Like I said, this was so rusted I was afraid I was gonna break it. I mean, it was tighter than 3 motherfuckers. And if you don't know the scale, 3 motherfuckers is a lot more tighter than 2 motherfuckers. Here's the inside, where it comes from. Every little block here. So here's where your, kind of fucking hard to see, your supply and returns here, the 2 big hoses. These are your steering. These 2, and then this third one's your brakes. So you got 5 on the side of the block for it. That's where we got the track off. We're gonna change out what they call the case filter. We're gonna see if we can show you what that is. So there she is right there. What I'm gonna do here is we'll clean that all up. Get some degreaser and spray on it, wire brush. Anytime you do with anything with hydraulics, cleanliness is next to godliness. Keep that shit clean. So we're gonna clean her up good. We're gonna pull this apart, and then I'll show you what's inside. It's a brass filter. We're gonna clean it out, and usually you can just clean them unless they're impacted full of shit, and then you can replace it. But all right, hang tight. So on this old girl, it was a lot easier to come up. If you can see this fitting, it's kind of buried back behind my finger. Sorry, I can't get a shot for it. But anyway, believe me when I say follow my middle finger, because it connects to this here hose. What I did is I pulled that up, and that allowed me a little better access to get that case filter out. Every woman's a little different. You have to see what yours wants, but that made life a lot easier. She came out a lot easier this way, boys. Alright, so we got that case filter apart. A little bit of chunkies in there, not too bad. It's kind of hard to see on the bench here. Them holes are already there, welding site. But basically what you're looking for is to make sure that this thing is not impacted full of shit. This is like one of them brass filters. Small screen inside, big screen outside. You pretty much can't fuck it up. Just gonna clean her up real good, make sure everything's alright. But no, it looks pretty clean. This here, we'll just hit her with some brake clean, carb cleaner, make sure we get some in our eyes, and find all the cuts on my hand, and clean her out real good. Or you can use like mineral spirits, paint thinner, blah 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 blah. If you got rubbing alcohol, whatever you want. Just kind of clean it up, get all the shit out of it. You see there's a little chunky on there. So we got that brass stone filter reinstalled down here. And you can kind of see it. I mean, oh, there she is. She just flops around in the fucking breeze like that. But I guess it ain't gonna hurt anything. But yeah, it's much easier on this side to pull it up. We'll do the other side here in a little while. We're gonna, I'll just walk over there and show you where that one's gonna be. So that one's gonna be right here. We gotta pull these 4 bolts off to get to that. And I don't know, it's pretty tough with this track system. It's easier just to pop off the track. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit, but now we're just gonna put this side back together, put our little inspection cover back on. Kind of cleaned out some of the schmoo, groove, grease, fucking dirt, stinky shit in there. That filter was pretty much just like this. Rusted to fuck. Yeah, this thing, like I said, it's ready to go off to a fucking third world shithole country. She's past her prime in this country. Alright, so we put the track back on, super easy, one-man job that way. I don't know what that is, about a 4 foot, 5 foot pry bar. If you don't have one of these, get one. I don't know what it is. Snap. Turn down. Mayhew. No, tell you what, solid gold right there. But so yeah, all we did here, and you see there's 2 Zerk in there. That top one is the actual Zerk fitting there that you put grease in. The bottom one is a bleed to take the pressure off. If you've never seen this before, it's kind of cool. You got that cylinder there. So that's what puts tension on your track. What you do is you get a 3/8 socket and you can loosen that bottom one up, and this will spooge out. Ooh, that brings back memories. My first movie theater with old Mary Jane. Felt like that. It smelt like that. I guess they didn't call her Mary Jane Rotten Crotch for nothing. Felt like sticking my fingers in a horse mouth. What it was like to be young. But yeah, that's all it is. And this green shit, we have a pretty good idea that is the factory grease. I'm sure Bobcat calls for something that costs $47 a tube, but basically all it's doing is filling a fucking cylinder to put tension on the track as a tensioner. Kind of a neat idea. Just remember, your grease gun there is cooler than shit. That thing right there, or any grease gun, puts out like 15,000 PSI. So you can blow shit up with it. If you're really cool, you can put grease zerks and metal and fucking do hydroforming with it or whatever. So we'll go over, I think Bobcat calls for, I'm not 100% sure, but I think on this one here, they want the machine off the ground, and you should have about a 1/2 inch gap on your rollers. It's kind of like setting up a snowmobile track. If you ever did it, you fucking read it and you're just mind boggled, you know. Put a weight on your cock, and if it sags more than 3/8 of an inch, turn the track in 3/4 of an inch. You know, I don't know. I'm supposed to check them, I think. I'd have to look at the manual, but I think like every 50 hours you're supposed to do the track tension. I can pretty much guarantee that this one has never been done, but we got her set close for right now. my idea is, if you hear that thing hitting when you're driving, she's too loose, boy. Just find another hole. Okay, I know we've been kind of doing everything backwards, but here we're going to show you how to release the track tension and take the track off. You look inside a how. You can see the cylinder. And here, you put your, oh, fuck me. Oh, it's oh, this side, it's on the top. Oh, what the fuck, Willie? Still 3/8. So this is pretty freaking awesome right here. Watch this. Because I don't have enough power with one hand. Oh, I mean, you can just feel the release, right? We'll give her a little more. Oh yeah. And you can kind of see the track sagging a little bit. But yeah, then all you gotta do is push down on her. Oh, oh baby. Isn't that fucking awesome? But then you take that big old fucking pry bar and you stick her in a hole and kind of compress her enough, wiggle jiggle shit around, and I'll pop that track off. And the only reason why I'm doing this side is because we need to get to this here plate and pull that inspection plate off to get to that other case filter for the other motor. So we're gonna pull the track off, do that. So then this here is kind of the sweet spot. If you get her loose enough and then get her under a lug like that with your big old bar, and give her a wee. Oh, we got a squirter, boys. Oh, she likes it. Until this pry bar slips off and I punch the fucking ground. Oh. And just when you think, or just when she thinks she's had enough, you can come by with round 2. It's called the 2-finger cul-de-sac technique. You stick it in there, and now watch her. Oh. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes if you get in the wrong hole, I always like to call it a high-speed lane change. I'm kind of doing this overkill just because I want to change the grease out on it. That and I like putting new tubes in my grease gun. It's kind of fun. There we go. She should be nice, good and loose. Well, we managed to get her panties off. And there's the glory hole. So this one here looks a little different. We got 2 lines coming into it and 1 back there farther. But I think for tonight, we're just gonna spray her down with some goo. Maybe give us a fighting chance tomorrow to get that rusty nut off there. And we'll do her tomorrow. I gotta get out of here. The mosquitoes around here look like Peter North flying around. So today is tomorrow, and here we are. So, put the cab back down. Push that in with your foot. You can see it. Just let her go down nice and easy. I got a 1/2 inch bolt right in here with a 3/4 inch nut. And that's all there is to do to raise and lower the cab. We put the tracks back on, greased them up. I'll show you that here real quick. I kind of forgot to do this. Track tension. This is the one for the Zerk. That's your bleed. And on the other side it'll be just the opposite. So don't get confused. The bottom one will be the bleed and the top one will be your whatever. I don't know why. And then one other thing to remember here is the cylinder. But if you let the pressure off, this guy's gonna go back, and you can stick a pry bar in here and compress that more to give you more room on the tracks. These tracks are super easy to put on and off with that. It's actually pretty impressed, pretty slick deal. So I went out and took her for a little rip. I think that side's a little sloppy. I'm gonna tighten her up just a wee bit here. I think that's right to Bobcat specs. So, yeah, track done. Send it.